DroneTalks is an online platform to spread ideas and to educate in the drone ecosystem. At DroneTalks, we discuss technology, regulatory, business and ecosystem topics openly with industry leaders to enable and foster innovation for a better future.
Hi everyone, it's Esther Kovac, founder of DroneTalks, and today I'm talking with Thomas Neubauer, Vice President of the Business Development and Innovation Department at TEOCO. Welcome, Thomas, at DroneTalks.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the welcome.
I was just wondering, as a first question, your background is really impressive, and why drones? How life brought this topic to you?
Well, my background is in telecoms. So having worked for about 20 years with telecom providers, one of the key questions that came up in the time of IoT, of Internet of Things, what would be if these IoT devices would actually move in 3 dimensions? And that actually was directly leading to drones, which are considered like an Internet of Things, but just using airspace.
Yes, and I can understand it's machine to machine internet over communication. So, I mean, why do we need connectivity? I do understand, what you're saying, there is a potential, but what difference connectivity for drones make? My drone can fly, deliver a pizza on GPS. Why connectivity?
Well, there are 2 things. Number one, it is about, as with all of the IoT devices, it is about scaling, right? In order to fly 1 or 2 drones in a safe way, there could be other means. But if you want to have thousands or hundreds of thousands of drones flying in airspace, you need to have a scalable mechanism, and that requires an additional safety aspect. And the safety aspect comes with reliable communication, because what happens if you have to, for example, in an emergency case, tell all the drones that they have to land? Or if you have some airspace restriction coming up during the flight that only the ground station knows, you need to communicate. And that is why communication for unmanned aviation at scale is becoming so important.
So, what just make me understand, there are a lot of communication sources, and I know you represent mostly the cellular side of the communication sources. So I was just wondering, why is this a key for drones flying?
Well, Cellular has something very interesting. It is actually operating on what is called licensed spectrum. And for drones, because it is mission critical connectivity, you have to have it. You have to have a remote pilot to engage, to communicate. So it's becoming a mission critical service level arrangement, agreement, an SLA. And in most jurisdictions in the world, you can only provide such SLAs in licensed spectrum. So if you want to have something that you can actually rely on, it's going to be licensed spectrum. That is one aspect. And the other one is telcos, and Cellular has a history of reliable communication. It's the only mechanism available at economic terms that can provide such a scalable, reliable, existing, proven, and commercially feasible communication mechanism.
So we have these cellular stakeholders and we have the aviation stakeholders, and you're telling me that, the cellular technology is capable to serve the aviation needs, but how? How can we match them? I guess that's the $1 million question.
That is a very good question, as you say, because most people in aviation do not really speak telecom. And most telecom people don't really speak aviation. So to show the scale and effort globally on the way, I would just like to mention GSMA, industry representative of 700, 800 telecom providers around the world, and GUTMA, the Global UTM Association, just recently have joined forces to actually bridge this gap between telecom data that is needed for aviation and the aviation management systems. So there's an effort to actually connect those two to really assure and enable connected drones as they will be needed.
So that sounds really exciting, Thomas. So I'm just wondering what TEOCO does currently to bridge these two industries.
So what Airborne RF does, it tells the aviation people in real time where it is safe to fly, where the connectivity has the aviation grade to actually have a drone fly safely in beyond visual line of sight, and that at scale. That is the key point.
Thanks, fantastic, and probably the audience already know that I'm an acting section of GUTMA, so definitely thanks, Thomas. It's a call for action behalf of GUTMA as well. And I'm just wondering here, if I want to explain my mom when the connected drones come to picture, can you share some use cases? Because currently drones delivering guts, right? We all know that, but they are not, most of them are not the connected, drones, what you have talked before about. So can you share some use cases where connectivity really matters?
So the key focus that we have is when we're talking drones at scale is for something that is beyond visual line of sight. So where the pilot does not have a direct line of sight to the drone. And this is from a regulatory perspective yet to come. But in order to prepare for that, the key use cases why connectivity is so critical is one, where we handle what is called mission critical connectivity. So-called command and control. And I use the example of what if you have to tell all the drones up in the air to land because of an emergency or something like that. You have to be able to communicate with the drone for that. That is mission critical connectivity. But from a use case perspective, think about drones that are on a life-saving mission to actually find people that may be not coming back from hiking, and in order to actually send out the drone and look for them, what you have to do is you have to provide a video stream or pictures in real time to the mission control center. And in order to do that, you need to have a service connectivity that enables particular services. And in order to make those happen, you need connectivity as well. Otherwise, it's pretty useless to send out a drone and look for somebody.
It sounds really promising, but what do you think, if you can forecast, when do you expect connected drones are really operational? So, if you can have a magic ball, what would it say?
Well, it's a good question because from a need perspective, and from a technology perspective, I think we are actually there where it could be available right now. So just to give some examples now with COVID, with lockdowns, with large fires, we have seen a need for transporting blood samples, even some supply that is critical to lockdown areas, or to actually send drones out to inspect some critical infrastructure in places that are captured or surrounded by bushfires and so on. So if you can remotely send a drone there, that is of huge value. And even the World Economic Forum has actually shown that value during this COVID action today. So it's happening. The question is, when will the regulators actually allow for it? And in order to do so, there's a lot of testing going on so that you can actually implement it and combine this unmanned aviation with the existing aviation systems. Because after all, it's all about safety. And for example, we are contributing to some of these large-scale use space demonstration and integration projects in Europe, but there's also projects going on in the US and all over the world to integrate drones in a very safe way at scale, so it will be enabled at scale into the airspace.
What's the year? When would you expect connected drones flying on cellular?
We see that today. I have recently been participating in a drone flight that actually was going for about 120 kilometers, all managed through a 4G LTE network. So it is feasible and we can actively contribute to that. The question is, when will you get regulatory clearance for that? On exceptions and special permits, you do it today, but a wide-scale clearance I would expect in probably about 2 to 3 years from now.
Fantastic! That's really just around the corner, Thomas. And plus one question for today: what's your thoughts about UAM? What do you think about the urban air mobility projects going on in the light of cellular, of course?
I have the privilege of being involved in some of them, and the answer is it will come. The question is, when do you have enough confidence in the technology and in the safety that it will actually get clearance? But there is an absolute need for it in terms of replacing helicopter flights and those sorts of short-haul connectivities for moving people. But I believe we will see it actually sooner rather than later. So it's some, I can count it with the fingers on one hand in terms of years when we will see them up there. That's for sure.
Thanks, Thomas. It's really exciting. It's always great talking to you. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.